Okay, Bismillah. Okay, folks, welcome to our lesson. We're looking at sine rule. So we've got the example on our left-hand side. We're looking at one for the first question. Now, sine rule is a rule that links corresponding lengths and their angles. So the sine rule goes like this. We have A over sine of A is equal to B over sine of B is equal to C over sine of C. Now I've made that top C a bit too big, so I'm going to need to rub it out. That should be a nice small c representing S length. That is the capital one representing angle. Now in these particular questions, okay, we only need to use two of these identities at any one time. So really, I mean, in the question, we don't really use more than this. Okay, that's just there for us to be complete in terms of our explanation, in terms of our theory. That's what we normally start with. This is now, in this particular question over here, that on the left-hand side, okay, I'm going to have to use two different techniques here. So let's have a look. We have an angle here, and we have its corresponding length. I normally join them up and I call this a pair of dumbbells, okay? So I know this and I know this, so everything is solid line green, a solid line here. Okay, let's have a look at what else we know and what we don't know. So I'm going to choose a blue now. So I know this angle here, but I don't know, and I need to know this side over here. So when I join these two up here, I know this part, but that's the part I need to know. I put it like as a double dotted line for emphasis. So that's the bit that we are trying to work out in this particular question. So if I look back at this over here, so now they've got A, B, and C labeled in that way. Okay. Now, the way that they've labeled the diagram and the way that you label it for your question, I would normally advise you to relabel the diagram, because they might be using P's and C's and D's or E's and M's. And in our rule, we normally have A over sine A equals B over sine B to make things correspond. Okay, this A part is good. I'll leave that as it is. Big A, I'm going to put that in green now. And this, we call this our little a, representing the length which corresponds to the angle A. Okay, now this one they've called is C. I'm just going to relabel it B. I'm going to relabel this C as little b. And I'm going to label this B as C. It's not necessary that you have to take this much measures. Okay, but I just want to link this first two part of the formula to this. Okay. You could actually go from here to there. But I don't want to do that A sine to C sine. Okay? I just want to keep these two close together using my this. When you give the answer back, you put answer C equals. Yeah? Are we happy with that? So now, let's have a look what we know. So the green information, the A part. Okay, let's get to this. Let's get back to this green part. So what do we know? We know the little side A, and we know the big angle A. Okay, let's look at the blue one. We know the big angle B, but we don't know the little b. So in this information here, how much information do we know? We know 3. So we got 3 ticks and 1 cross. So if you want to write it down, okay, so we got 3 ticks and 1 cross. So you're only allowed to not know one item of information in order to work it out. So what we need to do now is to work out the value of, I've relabeled there C as my B. You can put it back again at the end. How do we work out this B? What do we do, Harun? We need to. So B is being divided by sine of B. So opposite divided by sine B is times. So we have A multiplied by sine of big B is equal to little b, and that's all divided by sine of A. So what we've done here, we have rearranged the original formula to give us the length that I'm looking for, which is in the question was C, I've relabeled as B. We're going to give it back and the answer is C equals whatever we want. But I just want to keep the formula simple, so we're using these two parts of the formula. Now, what do we do now? Let's quickly double check. Do we know the little a?
Yeah.
So we know the little a. Do we know the big B? Do we know the big A?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know all the. What don't we know? We only don't know the little b. That's good. Now what we need to do now, the next phase, we need to now put into there the values. So what is little a? Little a is?
Yes.
Whoa, the brush is too thin. So we have 8 multiplied by the sine of the angle B. What is angle B?
42.
Okay, hang on a second. I've done sim. Okay, there you go. The sine of 42, thank you. Divided by the sine of the angle A, which is sine of what?
57.
57, yeah? Are you with us, Abdullah?
Yep.
We're just basically substituting now. If you're not with us, time we'll explain again. And that will give us the value of B. Now, what we need to do, we need to put all of this into the calculator. So I'm just going to launch my calculator, put it. No, sorry. Wow, that's too big. Okay, so I'm going to type in what we see here as it is. So we start with the fraction button, and we. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't even see the buttons. Oh. Okay, right. Okay, here we go. Bismillah. So we have 8 multiplied by the sin of 42. Okay, press replay to bring it down. I want everybody to be following me. As you see, don't look at the screen, just follow me on your calculators. Okay? Because I'm doing calculator work, you should be doing calculator work. Because there's nothing for you to write down. So it's the sin of 57. You don't need brackets around the 57 and the 42 in the nature of the kind of question that we're setting it out. Because there's nothing else multiplying on the outside, okay?
How do you get rid of the brackets?
If they give you brackets, doesn't matter, just put another one at the end just to complete it. If they give you free brackets, so if they give you bracket A, is that right?
Yeah.
Just put it one there to finish off, that's okay. If they give it to you, it doesn't matter. Put one off, just finish off. And if they give you one here, give another one to finish off. That won't affect the question in any way. And then you press equal. And we get B is equal to, now remember our B is actually in the real question, is the C part. So I'm going to say here now, whoops, I've lost my calculator. I think I need to move my calculator to the side over here. Right, so we got over here now 6.38277. Now if you round that off to one decimal place as a good rule of thumb, so it becomes 6 point. So we can rename, go back to the original lettering. So this B, the I label B was originally in the question labeled as C. So I'm going to use C again now and say 6.4. But the point a bit more darker. C equals 6.4 centimeters. And right over here my accuracy, which is 1 dp.
8 meters, nothing there.
Pardon me. Thank you. That's meters. Yes, it is. Okay, let's go to the C. It is M for meters. Because this question is all in meters here, so that'll be meters as well. Okay, well spotted. Somebody's awake today. So that was a quick test question, that was. Well, that's all teachers say anyway. Okay, are we happy with that, folks? Mr. Hassan, are you with us?
Yeah.
Are you sure? So you're just here in body. Are you here in spirit as well?
Yeah.
Mr. Hassan. Okay, Bismillah, welcome back to another example here. Looking at question number 4. Okay, at the end of this video, you'll be able to see all the different worksheets we're using. So you can do a print screen and you'll have answers with it as well. And you can do it for homework. So at the end of this video, you'll have access to all the question sheets in the video itself. Just do a pause and print screen it for those of you who want to follow it at home. Yeah? Okay. Right. In this particular question again, as I said, the formula, the sine rule is based on A over sine A equals B over sine B, which means an angle, a length A and its corresponding angle A, a length B and its corresponding length angle B. Now these are for non-right angle triangles. Okay, this formula could easily just say P over sine P equals Q over sine Q. But for the moment, we leave it in its original format, and I'm actually going to relabel my diagram. Okay, it'll take a few moments. Alright, let's okay, alright, here we go. Alright, so our big, so we can, this R here, I'm leave the R there. I'm going to relabel as A. And I'm going to call the R that they're giving us, I'm just going to relabel that in my diagram as big A. And this is big B. And we label this as little b. So can you please now put those measurements on there? You can use a little pencil to cover them. So don't like do a permanent exclusion there. And this one, this labeling here, we're going to call it big C. And that is little c. Okay, are we happy with that so far? So we just relabel the diagram to make it correspond to the formula. You can also change the formula to make it correspond to the diagram as well. So it works both ways, whichever way is easy for you. So now let's have a look at what we said before. We're going to call it the dumbbell rule. Okay, so we know the length, solid blue, and we know its angle, and we connect them with that's a dumbbell. One complete dumbbell, I'll call it. So we know the big B, tick it, and we know the little b. So I've ticked them. Let's change color to green. We know the big A angle, but we don't know its corresponding length, which we need to work out, which they call R, which corresponds to our labeling as A. Okay, so that's going to be our dumbbell with one incomplete side. So we have two dumbbells, a blue dumbbell and a green dumbbell. Yeah. So now we need to work out the A, so I'll put a cross by the A, we don't know it. And we do know what the big A is. Now, in this formula over here, Hassan,
Yeah.
how many things don't we know? How many things got a cross next to them? Just one. And how many things do we know?
3.
You know, 3 items. Is that a good situation or a bad situation? Very good. So what do we need to work out here? So let's have a look. Brush size. That'll do. Okay. We need to work out the A. Opposite of dividing by sine A is timesing. So our little a, which actually corresponds to the R in the question, we can put that in as well, is equal to B multiplied by the sine of A divided by the sine of B. So opposite divide is time. So we're rearranging the formula. It's just a different formula we're using now than compared to soccer toy. So this is a set formula. Now what we need to do, we need to put in the values in. So we said R, what we're looking for is equal to our A in the diagram is equal to B. So let's put some B. What is B? Little b is equal to, what is equal to? 40. So little b is equal to 40. Multiplied by the sine of A. What's the big A?
48.
48. So you might get brackets in your calculation, that's okay as well. Divided by the sine of the B, the big B. What's the big B? 47.4. Okay, now we are ready to put this question into the calculator. Let's launch the calculator. Whoa, that's a bit too big. Here we go. Let's put the calculator up here. So what we see here in red, we're going to put into the calculator. So first of all, we start off with the fractions button. And we type in 40 multiplied by the sine. Now some of you got brackets. I'll use brackets as well to make it look the same. 48. And then we replay that. And then it's sine again at the bottom. I'll put another bracket in as well. And hopefully it won't cause this software to crash. Hopefully it shouldn't. Oops, sorry. Yes, 47.4. Okay, if you spot any mistakes, folks, please point it out straight away. Like Samara did earlier. Yeah? Well done, Samara. So, okay, are we happy? Does this red part here match my calculator part? Should press EXE. So that gives us an R value. Or what is the R value?
40.382.
Okay, whoa. Let's move that to one side. So we say R is equal to 40.3829 blah blah blah. So we can say R is equal to, what is it to one decimal place?
40.4.
40.4, because this is 5 or more, you add 1. So R is 40.4. Now we're talking about, it's an angle, so it's degrees. And we can put in the brackets on the side, 1 dp. Unless they tell you to do, for example, to whole numbers, then you do according to what they tell you. So that's one more.
Centimeters. It's the angle.
Yes, it's not angle.
It's not an angle. Oh, pardon me. Thank you, folks. I'm going a bit doolally here now. Let's go to this. It's okay. We spotted it quickly. Get rid of it. And we put centimeters in there. Well done, Mr. Saf. That was another test question, making sure that you guys are awake. Yeah, well, that's my story anyway. Yeah. You got a lot of things to catch up here. So okay. Yeah, still a small child. Okay, right. Need to come out of kindergarten. Okay. Okay, folks, I'm just going to enlarge the sheet now to show you where we originally. Go back to the original. This is the sheet that we're using for our exercise today for sine rule. We have this one. Okay. And then we have, this is the one for cosine rule. Hopefully we get onto that in a while. And then we have this other one for cosine as well. Okay. And then we have another one for cosine with answers. And another one sine rule, cosine rule. So, these are all here just to show you for those of you who are going to follow the lesson later on.
What about time?
Okay. Okay, here we go. So here comes our questions. You do sine rule or cosine rule, there's not one called tan. No. That's, you work at tan when you work at Sabbath. Sine rule, cosine rule. Okay, here's our question. I've done some of these questions. Please let me know if I've already circled the question. So we've had a look at question number 1 and question number, which is one just done that. Question 4, isn't it? Yeah. So I would like you to do for me now, please, question number 2. Actually, I'll tell you what, let me just make it, the answers up there. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Actually, you got the question sheet there anyway. Question 2 and, okay. Question 5, you've got to look at the Z value, and then you've got to look at the B value. Those 2 questions for me now, please, on looking at the lengths. Thank you very much. I'll come around and give you a hand for those of you who need a hand. Okay, we're going to record it now. So here we go. Question number 5, you've got to work out. Let's go over it in red. This is a Z here. I'm going to relabel my diagram. So the Z, I'm going to call it A. So this little Z will become my corresponding little a. I'll call this relabel in the diagram. So the Y, I'm going to call this big B, and the little, and this, and its corresponding length, I'm going to call it little b. That's all we need. We only need an A and a B.
Does it matter about the letters? Which order?
No, it doesn't matter about the letters which order. So if you want, you can call this one A and that one and B. It doesn't matter. No. The order which you label the A and the B doesn't make any difference. So let's now do our dumbbells. So what do we know? We know all of this, and we know all of this. They're called solid dumbbells, no dotted ones. So we know an angle, and we know its corresponding length. Now, whilst we know another angle, which is A, but we don't know, and we need to work out its corresponding length. So we have a blue set of dumbbells, solid lines, and a green set of dumbbells with one dotted line. So this is the bit that we need to work out. This A bit, okay? So we write down our basic rule. So we say A over sine of A is equal to B over sine of B. So what do we not know in this particular question? So let's have a look. So we don't know the A, but we do know its angle. We do know the little b, and we do know its corresponding angle. So we know everything.
So where's on the board?
So we need to work out the A value, yes? Okay. So opposite of dividing by sine A is timesing. So the little a is equal to b times by this sine of A. So we moved over, so it goes over there. Divided by the sine of B. Okay, are we happy with that? Now what we do on the next level down, what we need to do is need to start putting some values in there. So A is equal to, what's the value of little b? Little b is?
Little b is 11.
Okay, what's the value of the big angle A?
Big angle A is 40.
40.
Yeah.
What is the value of big angle B?
95.
Okay, so A is equal to all of that. So we grab our calculator. Okay, right, let's put the values in there now. So now you use the fraction button on the calculator. So it's 11 multiply by sine. Sometimes you get automatic brackets. 40, close the bracket. Replay. On the bottom you have sine. Sometimes you get brackets. So 95, close bracket, equals. So that gives us the value of A is equal to 7 point. Now if you round that off here to one decimal place, yeah, 7.1. So what is that length? I keep writing the wrong thing for it. 7.1, no, not centimeters, 7.1, yeah, see it there. 7.1 meters to one decimal place is the answer for that question that we've just done now. Okay, folks, that's the end of that example question that we just done. Okay, we'll come back in a bit and we're going to look at how to work at angles. Okay, folks, welcome back. Bismillah, we're looking at sine rules still, but we're looking at how to work at the angles. So we've got a triangle PQR. I'm just going to relabel that triangle as I said it before. So it corresponds with our formula. Okay, let's write that in the formula. A over sine A is equal to B over sine B is the standard way that we have the formula. So I'm now going to label a diagram. Now the angle that I want to work out, I'm going to call my angle big A. That's the star. The star is the angle. That's what the question involves. You got to work out this missing angle over here. So you got to work out this angle over here.
Big A.
Big A. And opposite big A is
Little A.
little a. Okay. Now this is the other angle and side combination that we have. I'm going to call the Q my big B. And its corresponding length is going to call it little b. And that's really as much as we need for our labeling and diagram. Now, let's have a look what we know, what we don't know. Now, we know the little a. Okay, hang on a second. Let's quickly change over. We know the little a. We don't know the big A. We know the little b. And we know the big B. So now what we're trying to work out, where is it in the formula? Is on the top or on the bottom? All the previous questions, what we're trying to work out was at the top. Now what we're trying to work out is now at the bottom. Now we can't solve anything from the bottom. If I rearrange and I had A on the bottom, that's no good. The A needs to be at the top somewhere. Now there's different ways of doing this question. One way involves this thing called cross multiplying. Another way is actually even more simple, which all we do is turn the formula upside down. Okay. Which one should we do? Should we turn the formulas upside down, or should we do the cross multiply and make a big mess? Okay, turn the formula upside down. So if you turn this formula upside down, now we don't change the mathematics. The mathematics is exactly the same. So sine A comes to the top and the little a comes to the bottom, and the sine B goes to the top and the little b. So please don't watch this. Can you copy this down, please? So this formula, when we're working at the angles, we just write it, turn upside down. When we turn upside down, now what we're trying to work out, for example, we want to work out this angle over here. So if you look now, the thing that we're trying to work out is at the top, and that's what we need, where we need it to be. Small. Are we happy with that, small? Yeah? Are you happy with the idea we turn up? It's a ratio, we can't turn the ratio upside down. It won't affect the mathematics, it won't make the question wrong. Okay, so this here is just as good as this on the left hand side. So this is the original, and this is our new modified upside down version. Okay, that's what we've done. We turned everything from the bottom to the top, and everything from the top to the bottom. Now, let's now work out the A value. So, I'm just going to rewrite over here, so make it a bit more clearer. Because I need to do some manipulation on it. Okay, and we want to work out this. So what do we do first? First, it's been acted on by sine and then divided by A. Opposite divide by A is time by A. A time by the sine of B divided by B is equal to the sine of A. Now remember, we don't want to work out the sine of A, we want to work out A on its own. So we have to take the sine over as well. So opposite the sine on the left hand side, what does it come on the right hand side? It becomes what we call the opposite of sine is actually called the opposite sign, it's called inverse sine, sine to the minus 1. So we copy everything down on the right hand side as it was. And that is what we have. So when we're working at an angle, we need to turn the formula upside down, we need to rearrange and do inverse sine. So there's a bit more kind of rearranging, playing around with the formula. Now what we need to do is need to put the values in. So for that part here, we're running out of space on the right hand side. I'm just going to copy the question across and start putting the numbers in. So we have here sine to the minus 1 of A times by sine B. What was A? What's little a is? 7. Times by the sine of angle B. Angle B is 118. That's not the advertisement 118. Not that one. Okay, over the little b, which is 11. Now you need to put all of this into the calculator. Let's launch the calculator. Okay, let's type that in. So first was shift, sin. If you press shift and sin, it gives you sine minus 1. Now you put our brackets in, fraction button, so we make it look like that. 7 multiplied by the sine 118. Okay, some of you will have brackets on your, so I'll make it look like the way you will have in your calculator. Okay, bring the replay down to the bottom. And what goes on the bottom? 11, replay back up, and close the brackets. So you should have exactly that on your calculator display. What we got here should be exactly what you have in your calculator. Exactly. Yeah? Any luck on that, folks? Is it good? Have you managed to get that? Have pressed equal yet? So that's given me an answer which I'm right over here as, okay, my calculator disappeared, it's gone away. Okay, so I'm right down here. So far we got 34.1856, so on and so on. Now, what are we working out? We are now working out for the first time actually angles, not lengths anymore. So this is going to be a degree answer. So the final answer to one decimal place will give you what? 34.2 degrees to one decimal place. Why is that? Because if we stop at the one decimal place, we look at the decider. It's because it's 5 or more, you add 1. So that one becomes a 2. And that is how we work out an angle. The angle way is a bit more longer, just because it involves manipulating the formula more. Let's do one more question. I'll do one more question with you, and then we'll let you do some other questions. Okay, folks? So, let's find the next question. Oh, okay. All right, escape that. Press the wrong button. Right, okay. We need to clear that. And okay, let's use the mouse. Okay. Let's look for another angle question. So these two here and these two here. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, here's our next question. Wow, well, lots of above here. Okay, wow. Okay, right. Let's get. So here's our next question to do with angles. Right, as I said before, I'm going to give a little bit of a makeover to the labeling. I'm going to relabel it. So the angle that we're trying to work out is this angle over here. Okay, that's the angle we're going to work out. I'm going to call my angle here, I'm going to call it big A. So its corresponding length, which is here, that has to become little a. Okay, the next side, the next angle that we know, I'm going to relabel that as big B. And its little side is called little b. And that's really as much as I need to label. I don't need to go into the C's because we're not interested in that. Okay? Now what do we say? When we're working at an angle, we write the sine rule upside down. So, let's do that now then. So we write down sine of A over little a is equal to sine of B over little b. Now let's have a look what we know and what we don't know. So, big A, do we know it?
No.
No. Do we know the little a? Yes. Do we know the big B? Yes. Do we know its corresponding length B? Yes. Let's go back. We missed one step out. Let's put that step in. So what do we know? We know this and its corresponding side with solid green dumbbells. We know this length and we're trying to work out the corresponding angle over here. So that's another dumbbell, but this dumbbell has one part which is we don't know. That's what we're doing over here, A. Now, okay, we need to work out the big A. So what we say, to work out the big A is being acted on by a sine function and the A. So first action, second action, so we move the A first, opposite divide by A is time by A. Okay, opposite of sine of the function is, what is it? Sine minus 1. Okay, wow, that looks a bit chunky there. Okay, I'm just going to rewrite here a bit more neat over here. So the big A is equal to, as we said, A multiplied by the sine of the big B divided by the little b. So that's the first bit there. And then all of that is acted on by a okay. Now, what's left? So we started with the formula in the right orientation. We know what we want to work at the A. Yeah? We moved everything around in one quick go. So we saved ourselves a bit of space. So it's this action first and that one after it. Now we need to do is put the values in. So the big A is equal to sine minus 1 okay, what's the little a, Abdullah? Little a is?
4.1.
4.1. Okay, what's the big B, Hassan? The big B.
The big B is 69.7.
Okay, what's the little b, Samara? Little b.
7.2.
Excellent. Now I need to throw this into the calculator and work it out. So launch the calculator. Here we go. Okay, right, let's try. So first we press shift to get the second function, sine minus 1, bracket, fraction button, type it in now. 4.1. 4.1 times by the sine, bracket, 69.7. close that bracket, replay, bring the cursor to the bottom. So you just type in our 7.2, press replay again to bring the cursor back up, close the final big bracket, press EXE. So what do we get, folks? Okay, calculus is gone again. Disappears. Okay, so first of all, let's write down what we got as a rough answer. Of 32.28124 blah blah blah. We are going to round this question up to 1 decimal place. So this one here is the decider is 5 or more, you add 1. So the final answer for A is equal to 32 point. Now this is an angle, isn't it? Yeah. And that's the answer. So this question looks a bit more shorter, less, taking less working space. Okay, Rukaba? Compared to the last one, that was when we started with the original formula, we had the new formula, then we're rearranging, and we had all the extra steps in there. Here we missed out a few steps and done a bit more compact. So this is how you can do your questions using this kind of format, this standard. Okay? I know it seems a bit kind of, still a bit long, but unfortunately that's how we do it. Start with the formula, rearrange the formula, put the values in there, put in the calculator, and then we're done. Okay, now I'm going to give you some questions to do, folks. Alright, let's just clear the page a bit. Alright. Here we go. Here's our sheet here, folks. Right, we're going to give you some questions to do on this. Okay, we can have a go at question. Let me circle it for you. Right, you can have a go at this angle here. Question number 11. And you can have a go at this question here. Question number 11, question number 13 on our classical questions. I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to come around, see who needs some help. Right, question this is number 11. Number 11. Okay, whoa. Right. What we said before, we can do a bit of relabeling. So this side, this angle that we're trying to work out, I'm going to call it my big A. And this is my little a. The big B is already here and the little b is over here. Okay, so that makes this one into big C. Okay, now let's have a look what we know. We know we need to work out the big A. We know it's little a. We know the big B. And we know the little b as well. So we need to work out A. So let's work out the A. Okay, so, okay. Opposite of divide by A is? And opposite of sine is? Inverse sine. So, big A is equal to sine minus 1 A times by sine B, okay, divided by B, little b. Now we need to put in the values. So what's little a?
8 times sin 47
Sin of 47
over 10
over 10. So put that in the calculator and give me an answer, please, sir.
I've got 35.8088.
35.800. So the answer to 1 decimal place is 35.8 degrees to 1 dp. Lovely, that was nice and quick. I like that. Nice. Okay, next one here. You want to work out. Here's the next question over here now. Okay, so we're going to relabel it. So I'm going to call the angle that I'm trying to work out, call that my big A. That has to be my little a. That's already big B. That becomes little b. Okay. Right, let's have a look. We need to work out the big A. And we know the little a, and we know the big B and the little b. But we need the same type of rearrangement. Okay, right. Let's go back to this over here now. So we say that the big A is going to be exactly the same what we just done in the previous question. Sine minus 1 of the little a times by the sine of the big B divided by the little b. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to put in the values. So it's going to be a is equal to the sine of the minus 1 of the little a is 72, times by the sine of the big B, which is 71, over the little b, which is 100. So we look at this question over here. So the final answer is, what is the answer, folks? A is equal to 42.9. Is that the one decimal place?
Yeah.
Done. So then the two classwork examples that we just done now. Nice time for a prayer break. We'll just start with Salah. Inshallah, we'll come back in a bit.